Alright everyone, we are back with some more Rome 2, and I'm going to teach you the might of the true Saba right here today on this 3v3. Nice little winter map of Camus, London, so, you know, it's cold out. Which is a problem, of course. But with this, let's end it with Saba, the true army. So we'll start with Joe's here, who is playing Seleucid. Mr. Zhou on it has 3 silver shield swordsmen, including his general, 1 fixed ballista, 4 Syrian archers, 4 eastern spearmen, and 6 thorax swords. Kush is brought to us by Onyx Drake. We got ourselves a Kushite Royal Guard general, 4 Nubian bowmen, 2 armored Shota warriors, 1 disciple of Piedmont, 6 Kushite slave infantry, 4 Shota warriors. Interestingly enough, 2 Kushite slave spearmen. You barely see them, I'll be honest, so interesting to see how they will go. The final army is Saba. Saba's got a Marib Camel Cataphracts general. It's brought to you by me, by the way. 2 Desert Heavy Lancers, and 1 Sabaean Camel Cataphracts, hot back here. 2 Slingers, 7 Mercenary Marib Guard, which are a very solid spear infantry unit, 1 Mercenary Muscat Marauder, and 4 Sabaean Swordsmen. Guarding this flank, just making sure that nothing tries to sneak out on me, trying to bait them into coming out on me the same way. But, as this is going to be very, people like to sally out on this map, especially with the factions that we have. Now, Propane has brought Rome, most likely staying in that settlement, being the line of defense, but we do have a Parthia, brought to us by Smarthawk, and a Colchis, brought to us by Dade. So there's some pretty solid sally out factions, Noble Blood Cavalry, and Epeius for Colchis, and of course an army of Cataphracts for Parthia. Well, let's see how this goes. Let's see how this rolls. Let's get this party started.
Pray to the gods for victory, men, for it will bring us great renown and reward. Both are here for the taking, just beyond those walls. Renown for our achievement, and the choicest treasures as our reward.
There we go. And there is a reason I brought these Camel Cataphracts, by the way. Definitely not to get too... Ooh. Got a Citizen Cavalry already outside. But yeah, the Camel Cataphracts scare horses, and it definitely wasn't because I needed to get to 0 funds. I promise. Alright, we got a party over here. Some more Citizen Cavalry. Looks like they're inspecting the flanks, making sure everything's clear. Nothing else coming out at the moment, and we've got a Parthian Median Cavalry moving his way back, trying to hide, but by the way, that's why you always put a unit here. Because now that that's there, I can see that he's sneaking people out. If I didn't, that would have actually remained hidden and could have been very bad for me. Artillery fire coming on in. Citizen Cavalry flowing left. That Citizen Cav is gone into the forest. And as you can see, Joe is already maneuvering his archers in a way that will keep them less vulnerable.
As you command!
As I'm expecting a bit of a sally out, I'm going to move these guys off the tower. However, I'm not going to fully fold them back because this could be a bait, and they come out of this way here, and could end up squashing me. Well, more squashing Kush. If I pull back, then they can just push onto Kush. It could be very dangerous. He has finally discovered my Mercenary Marib Guard. And he's like, well, nope, I'm going to... Oh, is he going to charge? No, he's not. That would have been fun if he charged. But over here, we have now horse archers. Got some horse archers popping out. Citizen Cav is just floating around doing what they can. Just trying to bait what they can here. Median trying to be a little sneaky, trying to get around, see what they see. Trying to bait them a little bit this way so I can kind of entangle them along that and try to cut off all their ways of escape. But I don't want him to discover these other two Desert Heavy Lancers. I want him to think I have as minimal cav as possible to deal with him, so I'm going to pull these Camel Cataphracts out and force them away. I don't want him to discover the other two until the time is right. We can see more cav here. Some Noble Blood, some Hippeus flowing around. Looks like he was originally... It looks like it was going to be a full blitz left. And that Noble Cavalry, or that Citizen Cavalry and those Horse Archers were a bait. As you can see, I almost got him, but they do manage to slip away here. Citizen Cavalry still full strength. Is that the square formation? Yes, it is. Eastern Spearman square formation. Let's go, boys.
Into the tower!
They tried to charge me. They get an initial charge off that does pretty decent, but now I get the cavalry counter tactics off to finish off anything that's been stuck inside. And they are going to lose a decent amount of cavalry, as you can see. And to be honest, cavalry counter tactics do actually recharge fairly fast. 16 kills on that, dropping that down to 63, while losing none there. So being Camel Cataphracts are going to run away. It's going to be time to establish the cordon. Over here, more Noble Blood Cavalry, more Hippeus are coming out. We have a General Noble Blood. And with both flanks being pushed forward, ooh, that could be dangerous. I mean, citizens getting targeted, but getting caught by Kushite slave. Oh, look at those slave spearmen. They do have javelins. Actually, that's really good. With that, that citizen cavalry should be dropping in a second, especially with that volley there. Down to 20. Few getting in. You can stop firing on them. Maneuvering some of the Marib over. Especially as more and more come here. Just using that to kind of act as a roadblock a bit. So you can see the cavalry is moving up, getting ready to flow into Seleucid. A breach is almost opened up here. Joe's going to try to get a breach in to help infantry get through. We are seeing a bit of Rome. Some gladiatresses, gladiators. Very, very shock-heavy build, can be dangerous. Over here, just playing a bit of cat and mouse. Then going to try to bait them back into the woods, into the forest, to drop that speed down. Cavalry still flowing over here. And with this, most of my Marib are ready to go. Rest of them flowing in. I'm keeping those there just to make sure I don't get flanked. Back into that shield screen. Now it's time to strike the flankers. We're going to hold up the infantry as much as we can. Or not the infantry, the cavalry as much as we can. And flow in with the Marib is our strategy here. Over here, looks like the Noble Blood are getting in. Actually doing a good amount of damage, getting into a lot of the Kushite slaves, trying to get into these archers, and doing a pretty decent job of it. But they are going to have to flow away over there. Over here in our engagement, Camel Cataphracts having to pull back. Obviously the Desert Heavy Lancers are going to lose To be honest, so is the Sabaean camel cataphracts, but they're there for the fear fact as the Marib get into this fight.
Organize yourselves!
He did trample a little too late, so he actually lost the charge. And I have cavalry counter tactics in, trying to do what I can. And as you can see, kind of, this Marib is now going to start breaking them to pieces. There's more and more flow in, trying to bottleneck them back and back again. Over here, this Noble Blood actually doing pretty well at Holden. Another gap where they can get into the archers. They should just need to flow. Yep, right there. Right into the Eastern Spears. Eastern Spears doing their job. But right into those archers. Oh my god, that is not a pretty sight. And that is a ton of kills for that Noble Blood. They are crushing our ranged. That is what Rome really needs. Because it looks like they brought a lot of gladiators. Over here, the Marib are doing their work. Charge v charge. They have tramples, so they're going to do a ton of damage on the initial charge. They're going to keep trying to flow through. They're going to lose a decent amount of numbers, and the general's going to come on in and surround. As you can see, infantry is flowing in. This infantry is flowing in around. They're pulling back with their cavalry. They realized it's a lost cause. Most of the Colchis cavalry is still not in the fight. Paius starting to lose some men. Noble Blood, holy shit, this Noble Blood is still going. And getting right into the back of that charge against the Shotel warriors to get that Paius out. Nice job, nice job. Got some Vigiles. And Kush actually getting on in. I mean, those gladiators are going to have a field day against the Kushites. Over here, we have some infantry or cavalry continuing to flow. Most of this cavalry is done, and they're going to go for a desperate strike to kill my general, which is to be fair. However, the benefit of all these mercenary Marib Guard is they're all disciplined because they're all mercs. They don't give a shit about a general. They're not normally general. I'm now going to move the last of the infantry over to just help finish off and mop up these enemies. But my cavalry has taken some heavy casualties, which is to be fair. Once that breaks, these gladiators can flow around and actually do some real damage against these batches. Cavalry being forced away again. Ooh. Getting a nice charge into the flank. Nice job, right into the Shotels. They are going to have to pull back out, but that gets them up to 80, 90 kills. Like, that got them literally about 40 kills right there. And that's why I love shock cavalry so much. Over here, the general is close to dying, but he does hold out. As everything else is getting ready to break, surrounded by the Annals of Infantry, and caught them. Caught a good chunk of them between the two units of mercenaries, and they're going to start losing their numbers, as one of them does have cavalry counter-tactics on. Yeah. So those numbers drop, and then trying to flow back into the enemy there, trying to, as I said, kill my general, free up as well some of their cavalry. That is another cataphrax down, and with that, my side has been dealt with, and it's time to aid Kush, who is now fighting this fight inside the settlement, pretty much alone. As you can see, the Silver Shield here doing its best to aid. Beautiful charge with that Paius. And you can see those kills after a few seconds. That's why you want to keep count to 5 if you can after you get a shock cap charge in, because that's when you're going to get your most kills. That's a trick. I don't think it's actually 5. I always just count to 5 at my own cadence. You'll find a cadence that works before you want to pull out units. With my victory here, I can get onto the walls and put some pressure on them, and pretty much aid noble horse archers. Nice. Parthia's got a noble horse archer general, but aid Kush in his push because to be honest, he is garnering a lot of damage. Honestly, these Eastern Spears doing pretty well at holding back the enemy. I mean, to be fair, they're mostly fighting citizens. Silver Shield here, cutting in. Pay us up to 85, but they're close to death. 141 on that one. Archers are doing some real damage right into the Vishilas. I mean, they want it. Those gladiators, if they don't get shot, are just going to tear up this crucible right here. They do activate Killing Spree, but with not a lot of the unit in the fight, so it is a bit wasted there. Probably wanted to fill in more before activating that Killing Spree. But they'll start cutting through themselves. But this horse archer is just floating around trying to be annoying. 67 kills, so doing a pretty good job. But literally just shooting into the flanks. Pace Lancer. Getting again into... Oh, no, he got saved. Oh my god, that archer got saved at the last second. Holy shit. They're going to try to force it through into another archer. I mean, fair enough. This unit is dead. Try to stop what they can. Do what the damage they can. Just flow in. Kill as many as possible. I mean, 38, 40. Good job with the pass, I think. That one, a lot better. I would get that reflowed out. And as you can see, the gladiators are going to be getting shot to pieces. But I mean, they have been carving through the enemy. As you can see, getting up onto my towers and getting ready to push in. There's the gladiatresses. I don't like the gladiatresses as much because... do we still have another gladiator? No, I don't think we do. 60 melee defense. What is it? I think it is the... Yeah. Gladiatresses are more armored, but the gladiators can kill a bit better. That's pretty much it. And we see Rome's secret weapon, auxiliary elephants. Very aggressive Rome build. I don't know whoever would bring that. No one I know brings that. Ooh. Right into the archers again. Wonderful job, Hippeus. Finally getting cut off, but that's 304 kills. Honestly, Nadir has been doing a very good job with the cavalry. Flowing into gaps. But a lot of the units are still left. Though they did very well. I don't know if they did well enough. And of course, with me still healthy, they definitely not enough damage has been done on the sally outs. And as you can see, the balance of power is very heavy in our favor. It's always been heavy in our favor because of the cavalry. But the gaps are kind of closing in, so can't really do much. Noble Blood getting on in here. I don't know how I would feel about that. I feel like that's wasted. Trying to tie up as many units as possible, I think. The issue is nothing's threatening the archers, nothing's threatening the the more cost-effective units. So I think that just ends up, yeah, costing them far more than they should have taken. And with this, the gladiatresses, they're carving in. They're going to do well against Kush, and these gladiatresses trying to get to Kush archers pretty well too. And of course, the elephants flowing down the middle. We do actually have some veteran legionnaire infantry, so we do have some pretty solid infantry there. Trying to berserk the elephants right on the veteran legionnaires, which would have been great, but they do get away. Gladiatress is a lot of kills there. These guys are staying right into the archers, trying to do what they can to the Kush archers, because if the archers are dead, the elephants can rampage with minimal casualties. Moscot's forming up. We're trying to get the archers to safety, to be perfectly honest. Because the archers are our key, and I have slingers. I don't have archers. Over here, what I have left in cavalry is trying to stop their cavalry. As you can see. They're almost dealt with. Gladiatress is finally losing. These are armored shotels now. Yeah, they don't have enough killing power. These gladiatresses getting on in. Over here, the Sabine swordsmen are just going to hold up veteran legionnaires. That's just their whole goal. Archers moving up a little, very far. Hopefully, no one noticing them. Trying to get a shot onto those archers. Oh, these guys are out of ammo. Okay, there we go. Gladiatress is doing well. Over here, up to 48 kills, so they're killing. Definitely are. Desert Heavy Lancer being finished off, but just basically hampering what they've got, aiding the, honestly, the Eastern Spearmen, which are doing very well for themselves. Camels in the fight now. Yeah. Taking the shots, taking the damage so that they can flow away. Another lag, forcing the archer away. Again, I'm not expecting my general to really leave. To be honest, them going berserk is not the worst case scenario in this sense. Yep, they're going down there. They were up to 67 kills. They did very, very well, and there they go. Now that the buffs have gone, Frenzy and Killing Spree, they're out. Yeah, over here, of course, the veteran legionnaires are winning the fight. I don't expect anything less. I don't have the killing power to kill veteran legionnaires. Is he going to get his legatus killed? No, he does get them out safely. But elephants flowing through the infantry. I'm going to send a Marib to go deal with them. Over here, they're recapturing the tower. Disciples activating that effect there. Charging right on in with the mercenaries. Trying to do what I can. Trying to kill these elephants as best as possible. with that Javi volley. Literally trying to get the elephants in bodies. I have, of course, cavalry counterattackers on, hopefully to kill some of these elephants. Do a little more damage to them. As you can see, killed one. Now, of course, they're killing far more of mine. But hey. Elephant's starting to drop. A bit better there. Because of all the towers. 90 killed another elephant. Let's go. Got blasted through. I have a shield screen up to protect anything further down this way. Did sacrifice this one to try to get some kills and do some damage on these. And keep them on me. These elephants are dropping rapidly and with very little kills. That one's at 239, but this one's at 14. Of course, the tower's back in control of Rome. And Rome's just carving through the Marib Guard. Center, though, we are breaking through, and they're just being stretched way too thin to actually be able to win this. Nope, they don't. Still at 90 kills. But basically, these mercenaries have done their duty to keep the elephants there in the center of the fight.
Amisos!
And they do finally go. And the elephants are free to roam back towards the center.
Engage!
Does he have javelins? Nope. Second wind activated. Some javelins go off, dropping them down to one elephant. And this should be a finish off now. His numbers eventually win. Armored Showtails down the middle, I mean, they're just going to carve. Disciples activating them. Oh gosh. Getting them in the rear. A lot of these veterans are going to get carved into. Good job, Disciples. Yeah, they're trying to pull farther and farther back, but the Disciples are faster. Just catching them again and again. I mean, if they want, yep, there's that frenzy. Those veterans are getting carved down, same with these veterans here. Along the flank, again, more and more bodies. Literally, that's the strategy, is just bodies with my infantry. They're still trying to get to my general, and I do bait some into some oil. But Shotel warriors right into these veterans. Not too many Shotels, but they do get able to be shot in the rear by those Seleucid archers. Disciples are now losing, but they've done a ton of damage. And they're allowing the armored Shotels to carve. Over here, the Legatus is trapped. As such, that shall be its end. Noble Blood Cavalry still in the mix a little bit. Yep. Blasting right on through into the back. Kind of breaking everything here. Trying to break those Disciples and shattering the center. One last hurrah. Noble Blood right into these archers. but they are forced away. Honestly, at that point, I would have tried to keep them into that fight. Probably could have done a bit of damage. But they're trying to get away.
Cut for honor! Riders at the double! Riders, advance!
Alright. And then the camel cataphracts are still flowing. Veteran Legionnaires finally getting ground on 236 kills. That's insane. 159, these guys are still holding out barely, and as I say that, yeah, they're gone. But I believe army losses is starting to hit, so this is the end. Well, the beginning of the end. There's still 2 minutes left. But pretty much infantry is dropping. 102. I mean, Rome doing as much as they can with that. Noble Blood Cavalry General flowing around. Yeah, my slingers did shit. They didn't need to do much. The slingers were more for any inner keep defenses we might have fought, but we didn't fight any inner keep defenses. No, the Silver Shield Generals faced the wrong way. Them trying to get back up, they did get caught. I'm gonna sacrifice this unit of slingers so that they can, so that the other infantry can come on in. But yeah, they've got nothing left, as you can see. Everything else has pretty much died, but this noble cav right here. $207 kills, so very good. Still trying to flow, but they're gonna get caught. And with this, Noble Blood drops, and it is over. That's kind of how you deal with a sally out. A lot of spears. Kill-wise, doesn't look very impressive, but again, a lot of cavalry here. Me, getting started, I want you to know I had no chevrons on any of my units at the start of this game. Marib Camel Cataphracts General. Desert Heavy Lancers 144. I mean, you're not going to see anything really in kills, but you can see a lot of chevron on these Marib Guard, a lot of chevrons on this cavalry. A few on the Sabine Swords, which is impressive. And some on the Moscots. Onyx here, playing as Kush, the one who managed to get into the fight and fight a lot of this Roman infantry. 183 for the Kushite Royal Guard. 190 on that Nubian. Armored Shotos 161, 159. Disciples 163. And honestly, though, not too many crazy kills. I think these Kushite slaves did spearmen did very, very well. Shotos 112, so close with 99. And of course, Joe here, bringing the last army Seleucid. Fairly healthy with a lot of his infantry left. Archer-wise, 136, 155, 187, 108 for those Syrians. Those Eastern Spears managing to hold as long as they did. Silver Shields, 131, 121. And I don't think Joe chevron much of his infantry either. So you can kind of see which ones killed high-quality targets on those. Rome here, brought to us by Propane. 283 on the Auxiliary African. Gladiators, 173, 151. Gladiatresses 136, 225. Then, of course, Veteran Legionnaires 118, 251, 200. Yeah. I don't know. I prefer the Gladiators over the Gladiatresses. I know gladiators just have a little more abilities and are a little bit more armored. But I don't know. I like the gladiators better. They've always performed better for me. It's the same idea between Silver Shields and Peltist, is they just did better for me. Parthia here. Noble Horse Archer, 242 kills. Wonderful job there. A lot of the cavalry not performing very well from Smart Hawk. Dates here. As Colchis, 209 on that Noble Blood. The rest of the Noble Blood, 212, 179, 152. Hippeus, 142, 325. That's why I love Hippeus. Honestly, what the attackers could have gotten better. Attacker-wise, I think they did very well overall. Few misplays with the archers that led to some damage there. Archers being left open, I think that's the only thing we needed to clean up. Not allowing Colchis to get as many breaches in. Defender-wise, what they could have done better. Honestly, I would have probably overloaded the Colchian flank with both units of cavalry. I get why they didn't. They wanted to split the defenses up. But honestly, it ended up going poorly. A lot of spears on my side, so Parthia didn't manage to do well enough. Probably would have done a lot better working with Colchis and just overloading that flank and sweeping across. The trying to pinch their both sides is a valid strategy, just not when someone brings 7 units of a good spearman that you could see the whole time. Well, 6 of them you could see the whole time. But that's pretty much my 2 cents. Let me know what you think, how they could have improved, how they could have improved, and how they could have made that sale out work. I think it would have been very difficult for them, but to do it the way they did, far more difficult than the overload. With that, you all enjoy. I'll be heading out now, so bye for now.